powered by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy Monday to ya.
Hey, Crudy, happy Monday to you, my friend. A beautiful day on Brady Street, downtown Milwaukee. It's almost like spring, and I don't mind being in studio today. I'm in a good mood.
Buddy, you meant beautiful as in weather. I thought you meant us.
Well, you know, we add to it, Crudy.
We always make Brady Street just a little more attractive. Dominic, big weekend, big show ahead of us today. Want to point out, I bumped into a friend of ours. I purposely bumped into a friend of ours, crazy Lenny Mattioli.
Yeah, what's Lenny
E-bike
up to?
Lenny.
He's working hard, man. It's springtime.
Selling e-bikes.
Selling a lot of bikes, right.
Do you know, you haven't heard the Lenny ads for a little while. You know why you haven't heard the Lenny ads, Dom?
They were working just too damn well.
That is literally the case. He sold out of the Easy Motions. He closed out his 2017 stock. So we're going to find out what Lenny has been up to of late. You know what? Lenny, big buddies with Paul Soglin.
Oh, really?
You didn't know? Come on, man.
Couple
Lenny
old guys.
Yeah. Lenny, formerly of American TV Lenny, now of Crazy E-Bikes Lenny's. Fine sponsor of this radio station and of this show for some number of years, Tom. And Lenny's going to catch up with us at 3:45 today. And I mean, yeah, is he going to try to sell you an e-bike? Absolutely. But there's no one you would rather have trying to sell you an e-bike than our buddy Lenny Mattioli. So he's going to join us live on air at 3:45. Dom. So anyways, you know, had the clipboard out. Go to see Lenny. Wanted to make sure he had heard the news because obviously we are also in the commercial radio business. And I wanted to know, do I still have his financial support and sponsorship?
Well, the fact that you're running for governor of the state of Wisconsin.
I didn't even bring that up, but Lenny did. And I said, you know, I need signatures, man. It's a process. You got to do your duty.
2,000 signatures minimum, up to and no more than 4,000.
Yes. And, you know, sorry, Mayor Soglin, but Lenny signed mine. Here's the point I would make, Dom.
Now, signing that doesn't mean they're voting for the candidate.
Absolutely not.
You're just signing, saying, yes, I'd like to see them, you know, be qualified for the ballot.
You know what would earn me Lenny's endorsement and vote? If we sold a bunch of e-bikes for him. That's the only thing that matters. Well, you know, he's a good guy, but he does care a lot about selling some e-bikes. So we'll try to help him do that a little bit later in the show, Dom. But, you know, Lenny got his thing. And Saturday, and let me start. I know we try to move this show forward, Dominic, but I got to thank a couple of people.
Forward. Moving the show forward. You got to say it with your thumbs out like that.
I had my thumb out. You weren't
okay.
looking. You were
All
doing
right.
whatever you do over there on the little computery thing. Couple of things I want to acknowledge. Want to thank the people that hosted the little gubernatorial forum at Coffee Makes You Black in Milwaukee. Now, that was Earl Ingram show, and if you haven't heard Earl Ingram, 7 to 9 a.m. right here on WRD, 1510 a.m. and WTTM, 1580. Earl's doing fine work in the mornings, but also often goes out to the community on Saturday, and I was able to join him there, not as a broadcaster, but in that other role I'm trying to play currently. And it was me, it was Kelda Royce, and it was Tony Evers. And I appreciate the graciousness of all the candidates that showed up that day. But most of all, I appreciate the graciousness of the hosts there, the people that hosted the event. So thank you to Coffee Makes You Black. One quick note, Dom. What was that? Come on, Gary, don't throw me off. Met a nice lady at the coffee shop, and I had my youngest there. I had Karsten. You know what? Karsten had never had waffles and fried chicken, Dom.
Oh, really?
He had not. And, you know, I was being introduced. It felt great for someone, you know, a friendly face, and a couple of friendly faces were making introductions for me. And I can tell you, you know, I'd never been to Coffee Makes You Black. I had never dined up the fine fare there, and my son, period, had never tried fried chicken and
Oh,
waffles.
it's so good.
Well, he had them. I look over. I'm meeting people. I'm shaking hands. No babies. No shaking babies, but mostly
Shaking
hands.
babies and kissing hands.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm out there meeting the people. And I look over, and my son's got a big plate full of waffles and fried chicken. And he's looking at me, and I notice the clipboard's down now. Like he's not even going to try.
You don't want to get syrup all over the clipboard, man.
Apparently not. I did later get someone's jelly on the back of one of these signature pages. But here's the point. Met a great group of people. Lincoln High, sort of an alumni from Milwaukee Lincoln High. And really nice people. And Sherry in particular took an interest into giving me some friendly advice. And here's one thing I would say, Dom. This little process, this last week of my life, lots of people have had advice. And you know me, buddy. It's not that I don't heed advice, because you know I'm not Donald Trump in that way, right?
No, absolutely not.
I couldn't have gotten a radio station up and on the air if I didn't heed the advice of experts and engineers and FCC attorneys and differing stuff.
Right.
So let's not pretend like, I'm just bulling a china shop through life. Similar but different. But Sherry gave me some advice at this event, and my kid, look over, he's still eating his waffles and fried chicken. So I had time. So I listened to Sherry. And Sherry said, hey, if you think you're going to go be an office holder here in the state of Wisconsin, let me tell you, I work for Tommy Thompson. And Tommy Thompson had a philosophy, and here's what I would recommend to you. Now, I didn't quiz Sherry. Now, did Tommy literally do this, or is this, just good folksy talking
right.
at the coffee shop over some waffles and fried chicken? Sherry said, if you want to be, the next anything, if you want to go out and you want to run for higher office, here's what you got to do. You got to get your own signatures on the ballot. You should go out and meet the people of the state of Wisconsin. Now, there is an office, if you're going for a statewide elective office, you would need something to the tune of 2,000 qualifying signatures to qualify for the ballot. And as we're going right now, that's, suddenly become a big part of my life. Meeting the qualifying threshold.
And there's a time frame as well. It's got to be done by what, June 1st, something like that?
June 1st. Not only that, the DPW, the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, if you want a speaking spot on the platform, you must have your signatures in to qualify for office by May 25th. Because there is a premium.
Today's the 23rd. That's like 4 weeks, man.
Yeah. So it's coming up quick. So anyways, back to Sherry's heated and appreciated advice. Sherry said, be like Tommy Thompson. Go out there and meet voters.
Meet them all.
Meet them all. Meet as many of them as you possibly can. Listen to them. Get their insights. And, start there. And if you can get your own signatures, the prerequisite number, because people are going to challenge some of them. You can overwhelm. But that's what the volunteers are for. The volunteers are to take you from overwhelm to as many as you can turn in. She said, but you, young man, you go out there and you meet people. Okay. Well, I'm going to try.
Go get your own. So
go get your own. Go meet the voters.
Literally, when you get those signatures, you should be the one to talk to them, explain your positions, answer any questions they may have when you are talking to them. You were the person.
That was Sherry's contention. And that's what Sherry said. If you think you're going to run for office in the state of Wisconsin, that was her advice. I would say, sage advice to my opinion.
Sure.
2,000's a lot of people to meet and interact with. But Sunday was my first full-fledged day in my entire life. And Dom, we always like the kid. We do retail politics around here. We throw parties, right?
Yeah.
Throw a little party and
the
then
best parties.
invite all our friends over. And then we get to meet all our friends. And, hey, how you doing? Tell me about the kids. How long you been my fan? All that kind of stuff. But that's a little different because that's not quite retail politics. While there might be conservative Nick at the party, hell, Ron Johnson's been to a couple of our parties. You might have those that disagree with you ideologically. But I've already won most of those people's hearts and minds over. They're big fans, right?
I mean, they
showed up
wouldn't be
at the
party if they were not interested in what we're doing.
So that's quite a bit different than cold calling on strangers
Right.
and asking them to be considerate enough to involve themselves in a civic project. And quite frankly, Dom, lots of people out there in this world right now trying to get ballot signatures, lots of different offices all across the state. Let me point a couple of things out for the sake of everyone running and those that might get a little confused. You can sign a ballot for candidates for a variety of different offices. I have signed a ballot personally to try and qualify Josh Kaul as an attorney general candidate right here in the state of Wisconsin. Now, I was approached at the Solidarity Sing-Along by a Mike McCabe supporter. But as I had signed a different candidate's petition to get on the ballot, I couldn't sign on behalf of Mike McCabe. You should not sign for two gubernatorial candidates or two candidates running for Congress in the same district, but you can sign for an AG candidate, a governor candidate,
Right.
a first congressional district if you live in that district, whatever the case, see your own congressional district. But these candidates and these volunteers need to be aware of that, Tom, because I also went to an autism walk on Sunday. That's one of our pet projects. My son, Caden, we put some Facebook live stream up. He had a lot of insights. And, we forget people of all different sorts, they all have insights. Mm-hmm. They all have their own life experiences to offer us, and that's perhaps why Sherry recommends you go out and you get and you involve yourself and you campaign and you meet strangers, not friends. You're hoping to make them friends, but they're strangers when you meet them. And they look at you in some cases, like you're trying to sell them a used car on the lot, right? Hey, just looking, just kicking tires. Right. That's the initial thing. And you've now got, 30 seconds to maybe win them over to be considerate. And during the course of that time, you should also then perhaps inform them that if they've signed another ballot for governor, don't sign multiple ballots, because you're not helping the one candidate or the other. What you're really doing is invalidating at least one signature and probably putting both signatures into conjecture. Suddenly someone can challenge them. So we'll continue to try and educate you, and I've learned a few lessons just in a short week, Tom. But here's the one I want to retain. I would like to take the mantle as the Democratic Tommy Thompson. I'm going to go out there and meet 2,000 or more voters in the state of Wisconsin, or I don't deserve the right to ask them for their vote. Tommy, the Democratic Tommy Thompson, the Wisconsinite. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
We are moving Wisconsin forward.
I like to work, so that's not a problem, but this is actually more work.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies of the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamsters strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local 344.org.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. We are on Twitter at Devil Radio and the party line 414-369-6005. and 844-967-2789.
I've never heard you read the local number here in Milwaukee before.
Jumped in, yeah. 844-967-2789. That one is free.
Dominic, a new candidate, has joined the 1st Congressional District race as a Republican.
What?
I know. How dare someone jump into the race at this late hour?
Why would they possibly do so? There's already a front runner.
Paul Nealon.
The GOP, right? The white nationalist.
You know, they're already declaring this new entry into the race a front runner, Dom, and they're not acknowledging the hard work being put in by the Nealon campaign for the last 2 years. I mean, he's been out there meeting all the white supremacists, tweeting out.
Well, used to tweet out. Doesn't tweet out much anymore
Well,
since he's been
little
suspended.
anti-Semitic here and there, and that gets you in trouble, apparently, Dom.
Transgender.
But suddenly what? The powers that be, the insiders have declared Stile the front runner.
Who?
Brian Stile, an attorney from Ryan's hometown of Janesville and a member of the UW Board of Regents, becomes the likely Republican front runner.
What?
After the field of better-known potential candidates cleared for his entry.
They were just
They cleared the decks for him, Dom.
They were just afraid to go up against Paul Nealon.
I think that Nealon makes a strong front runner currently. Until I see polling that tells me otherwise, Dom, I still think white supremacist, GOP frontrunner Paul Nealon is the man to beat in the Republican side in the 1st Congressional District.
So who's this guy and where is he from?
Well, here's a quote from Stile. I want to take my problem-solving skills to Congress. I think they need problem solvers, doers, not talkers. Doers, Dom. Just do it. Do it. And I didn't hear any Republicans bemoaning the fact he got into the race.
Even at this late of date, this time, I mean, hell, he's got to get signatures like real quick. There's already Republican, in the race. Why don't you just let him be Paul Nealon, GOP white supremacist frontrunner?
For most of the early part of the day, there was a handsome young man on the top of the Madison.com. Did you see that one earlier today, Dom?
I sure did.
Red hat.
Big mug.
Badger hat. You can't see Bucky fully, but trust me, it's a Badger hat. Large field of governor candidates worry some Wisconsin Democrats, emboldens others. Who do you think they were talking about? Jesse Apoyan wrote this piece, Dom, and I want to Gary, knock it off. I got to
Gary!
get one quote out there from the fine subject, at least one of the subjects of the interview. Jesse Apollyon quotes Mike Crute. Apparently, he's a candidate for governor in the state of Wisconsin. Crute says, "It's not that there are not people I admire in the field. They're all really nice people. But Scott Walker, in my opinion, is an SOB. And if you're not willing to at least act that part when necessary, then you probably cannot beat him in a head-to-head matchup." But Dom, apparently some insiders don't like that sort of boldness.
No?
Well, did you see what perhaps you should read?
I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'll...
But yeah, inform me. I have a updated list from Jesse on all of the candidates who have announced. But I'd like to hear a little bit about what the insiders are saying.
Sure, I'll read briefly from this piece. Mike Crute, co-host of the Political Devil's Advocates radio show, owner of WRD Resistance Radio, and a Madison area property manager, said candidates already in the field have been gracious about his mid-April decision to launch a campaign. Crute's entry into the race creates an unusual scenario for Democratic candidates who are now his opponents. His radio show, which he co-hosts with Dominic Salvia,
that's me,
offers candidates a megaphone to reach listeners in the liberal stronghold of Milwaukee. But by appearing on the show, don't forget Columbus Madison, they'll be supporting the business that could end up funding Crute's campaign ads. Let me throw something out there. This little broke startup is still a broke little startup. If I didn't have a successful real estate business, this little business wouldn't exist. So nobody's propping up this radio station, at least not yet. If you'd like to help me prop it up, do so. Here's a quote. "I have questions about any candidate who gets into the race this late in the game," said one Democratic strategist. "It shows a candidate who was unwilling to do the hard work when the race was viewed as a toss-up." Tell you what, we'll talk more about this article when we come back. We're the Devil's Advocates. That's Dom. I'm a lazy guy, apparently.
Anonymous sources. Come on.
I love Dem strategists anonymously casting shade. We'll tell you more about it when we come back. More Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
The irony is a little rich here.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Did you know that Scott Walker spelled backwards is Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network? I know, I was amazed too.
The only election I've ever won was Milwaukee's Best Local Entrepreneur 2017. I'm not your typical politician, but I'd like to be the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. I've acted as a fiduciary for my clients for the last decade, putting their needs before my own. I will do the same for you. Red and blue, R's and D's, we all do business with each other on Main Street. We're all Badgers. It's time we started acting like it. This message paid for by Crute for Wisconsin. Find us at cruteforwisconsin.com.
Matt Rothschild here from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. I love being on Resistance Radio because I get to tell you who's throwing money around in the state capitol. It's disgusting. Wisconsin's not open for business. It's open for bribery. And Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss have turned the Capitol into an ATM for their corporate cronies. At the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, we blow the whistle on all of them. So please go to our website at wisdc.org, check out our latest stories, and send us a donation. We need a louder whistle.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Join us during Milwaukee's YP Week Milwaukee, presented by Northwestern Mutual. On Wednesday, April 25th from 11:30 to 1, Dom and Crute from the Devil's Advocates will host a new program called Political Open Mic, where we'll dive deep into different aspects of Milwaukee's education system. Justin Morales and Mandela Barnes will share their thoughts and ideas on the future of our education system and what it will take to get there. Do you have ideas? Make your voice heard at Good City Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 25th at 11:30. For more information, visit Milwaukee.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Major League Baseball All-Star and Brewers broadcast analyst Davey Nelson has passed away from cancer. Nelson was 73 years old. The leader of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, Mary Nell Reagan, is resigning from her position. The city of Milwaukee and Dane County are making big investments in solar energy. And the Brewers have now won 6 games in a row. They have today off, then go to Kansas City for 2 games. Mostly sunny this afternoon, then mostly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight around 40 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-50s. For Wednesday, sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's where it's at, Dom.
You know it.
Wanted to jump back into this Jesse Apoyan piece. It's a little awkward to discuss an article that includes me, but we've done it so many times before that. This is perhaps the most newsworthy show in America, so sometimes we make or break or whatever. We're quoted in news articles. Tom, why don't you read?
I'll jump in here,
I don't want to feel awkward.
I have it pulled up. Again, Jesse Apoyan in the Cap Times. I'll continue where you left off. Crute's entry into the race creates an unusual scenario for Democratic candidates who are now his opponents. His radio show, which he co-hosts with Dominic Salvia, offers candidates a megaphone to reach listeners in the liberal stronghold of Milwaukee. But by appearing on the show, they'll be supporting the business that could end up funding Crute's campaign ads.
Now, how is it, to anyone's perception, by me or this station providing a platform like Kelda Royce appeared 4 times on WRRD last week? Once on the 414 Wisconsin product, once with you on Friday. She was on the Mary Carroll show, and Mary Carroll kicked ass on Saturday morning. Please check her out, 9 to 11. Girl power. Her very first guest was Kelda Royce, and gave her a nice long, 45-minute interview. I'm thinking, I hope someday a candidate like me could get a 45-minute interview.
Right.
And then Kelda Royce also participated in an event on WRRD. She had the 1 to 2 slot during that little gubernatorial listening session,
Saturday,
and Coffee Makes You Black. So how does her appearing better my business? No, we want to be relevant in all ways we can.
Well, that's the point of the show, of course, is to reach out and get as many audience members involved. And certainly when candidates come on, no matter who they are, well, when they come on as guests like that, I mean, these are not paid appearances.
But are they doing me a favor by appearing on the show? I've always been the booker up till now.
Well, a favor in that we bring in relevant, topical, timely guests.
But
monetarily, no, of course not. Not any more than when any other guest comes on, because we call them up and then we want to have a conversation based on what the news of the day may be. That is not an endorsed, promoted kind of deal. That's an interview on topical subjects.
Well, when Lenny comes in, that's sort of a paid friendship. It doesn't mean we're not friends. It just means we do commerce together. But Dom, back to this.
But there is a difference, and I think it's a very important
I'm just not sure how, when we book interview guests on this fine station, I don't know how they're doing me a solid. Feel like I'm the one that invested the money in creating the platform. And the coattails. Of course,
they wouldn't want to come here if there were not people listening and being able to, they could get their message out to.
But you're so wrong about that. Didn't you hear what Christian Snyder said? I got a small stick, Dom.
Yeah.
And probably small hands. And the fact that Christian Schneider, and thank you for the free publicity, Christian Schneider.
From the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, like columnist.
It has been up. My shining, sexy mug has been up on the front page of the Journal-Sentinel online, 3-4 days now? I could not find publicity like that, and the man's accusing me of a Trumpian gimmick. Okay, fair enough. Catchy headline. I bet lots of people read the article. Once again, thank you very much.
But
Scott Walker needs the Trump voters, right, to win re-election. So if in his effort to criticize Crudy, he's analogizing me to Donald Trump, isn't he undermining his own candidate? Isn't he on hashtag Team Walker? I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
And the contention I have is that Schneider didn't research his column. He made a false accusation. It's provably false. He accuses me of enriching myself off the field. The only people that have advertised politically on the station, other than Dellett, during the course of her race and Tim Burns, were people that wanted to be involved with the Bernie Sanders broadcast. We did a special event broadcast. They bought commercials. We ran the commercials.
That's what
they
we
gave
do
us
in
money. We're in
it's
commercial radio.
How that thing works? What a cool concept!
But Dom, we're talking about $500 or $600 ad buys tied to one day's broadcast, and I certainly cashed the checks, but they weren't life changing. One $3,000 event that we had politically, and the money's expended here, barely covers 10% of the monthly nut.
Right.
That I'm currently expending because, much like Fox News lost $500 million before it ever made a plumb nickel, I'm currently investing Crudy resources. They're not propping up my candidacy. I'm propping up theirs.
Amen, brother. I will continue Jesse Apoyan's piece. One Democratic strategist said, I have questions about any candidate who gets into the race this late in the game. And I would remind people you could just start circulating petitions, last week?
April 15th.
Okay.
It's a relatively recent advent, but go ahead.
It shows a candidate who was unwilling to do the hard work when the race was viewed as a toss-up. Crude 47 says...
Is the race suddenly over? I thought it was still a toss-up. I last read an article in the paper over the weekend that Tom Barrett's still considering entry into the race. Tom's doing the same strategery as me. Why is Tom not a bastard, and why am I?
Crude said he's getting in because none of the candidates already in the field, which has been growing since last summer, are demonstrating the boldness of candidacy it would take for a governor to beat Republican Governor Scott Walker, a skilled politician with a strong campaign infrastructure. Here's a quote from Crude. It's not that there are not people that I admire in the field. They're really nice people. But Scott Walker, in my opinion, is an SOB. And if you are not willing to at least act the part when necessary, then you probably cannot beat him in a head-to-head matchup, unquote. But one Democratic insider argued that it's okay that candidates haven't thrown big punches yet. With a field of 11 candidates, 9 with paid staff, now is the time for candidates to find the air in the room to deliver their message, sources said. Mike Crude doing what he is doing makes this look like a circus. It is not serious, the insider said.
But Tom Barrett, he's not a ringmaster. If he does it, it's just me that would. Okay,
yeah, right.
You continue.
You must be not serious. You're not a citizen of the state of Wisconsin. You haven't been dialed in and talking about the issues and having basically 3-hour town halls for the last 5 years.
What have I been doing? 6 years, man. It's been longer than 5, but go ahead, please. Continue. Jesse Apoyan's fine piece in the Cap Times, Madison.com.
This field is naturally winnowing itself out, and he is crowding it to serve his own ego. It's a stunt, and it's bad for the race.
Well, Jason Stein also nailed me, and then goofball Christian Sleazy Schneider used the same one. Is this a stunt, he asked me, and I said, it's not a stunt. And then Schneider gets to turn around and say, anyone that says it's not a stunt, it's clearly a stunt. I'm like, well, that seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When one journalist asks me, I answer a question, and the other journalist uses my answer to say, well, if you answer the question that way, clearly it's a stunt. Well, I guess you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, Dom. But
well, was it a stunt when Governor Walker, just after winning the governor of the state of Wisconsin, ran for president? Was that a stunt?
Well, it was a bad stunt if it was a stunt, Dom, because he was burning $90,000 a day and doesn't have a damn vote to show for it.
Crudy, but let's be clear. Is this a stunt?
Not to my perception. And, quite frankly, I'm going to take Sherry's advice. I'm going to go out and meet 2,000 voters. Here's the part of that article that's probably valid. A year ago, I was considering running. There were people, consultants, trying to recruit me in this field. And at that time, my focus, my attention was on getting a radio station up and running, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of busy building out a radio studio. Kind of busy fighting publicly with the Scripps Corporation over an FM. Then eventually going to the FCC, winning a battle, winning the FCC, the frequency lottery. I'll spare you the arcane details, but I was a little busy. And I got to meet all the fine candidates, and I like them all, as I've mentioned. Most all of them. All the ones that have come down to Brady Street I like. But the problem is, Dom, their lack of catching fire is not my fault. And if I'm being selfish, and I could see why you might perceive that, maybe my wife would have a valid point to make if she thought I was selfish, because, you know, her point was, we've done enough as a family for this state. We've got our finances wrapped into creating a political radio station and a platform for people. Mike, you've done enough. So if I'm being selfish, I'm being selfish to my family. But it's my personal investment in this radio station. They aren't doing me favors. I spent the money. Come back with us, Devil's Advocates. Hopefully, you'll spend a little money with our fine sponsor, Crazy E-Bike, Lenny Mattioli. He joins us next.
The biggest fear that I, and I think a lot of our supporters have, is the outside money.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
It's a trap!
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts, and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5nines.com.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters, and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys, because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee Public Schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have one foot in tomorrow.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I would like to welcome back a good friend of ours, a fine sponsor. He's Lenny Mattioli. He's Crazy E-Bike Lenny, and he's always selling e-bikes. Lenny, welcome back to the show, man.
It's good to be back, guys. I just was listening. Boy, you sound just like yourself.
Amazing how that works, Lenny.
Lenny, I got to tell you, I've been missing your ads on the radio. What happened, Len? We were back in the spring rotation. You're running the ads.
Well, what happened? Actually, any potential advertisers that were considering using Devil's Advocate, listen to this. We ran an ad for a bike that was just a hair under $1,000. Really nice battery assist bike. I don't know if it ran about 10 days. We sold every one. Every single one. And the people responded, I heard this bike on Devil's Advocate. I'd like to see it. It was great.
So, Lenny, you literally sold out all of your closeout bikes predicated on ads on this little radio station. You know, Lenny, they tell me nobody listens.
Who tells you that?
Political insiders and some on the right as well, Lenny. They tell me no one's listening to this station. We're insignificant, buddy. The ads don't work here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know. You know what? The older I get, I'm pretty darn old, the less I seem to know about retailing and advertising. It's so funny, but I've had great success. And being as greedy as I am, I'm anxious to come up with another bike to put on your radio station yet.
So you don't share their perception that we're an insignificant, non-credible advertising source, Lenny?
I don't share that. That's not even a perception. That's just some guy talking. I mean, come on.
But they're insiders, Lenny. They're insiders.
Oh, please. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't know what that means. You know, as I say, I've had some great results in advertising. I've been a retailer for 44 years, guys, and I've had some dazzling results in advertising. But when I think of the money I spend to buy commercials on your airtime, puzzled. Sometimes if these people didn't actually, for the most part, actually buy the bike, I would think they were shills that you guys were sending in.
What, are you accusing me of being a Republican, Lenny?
Hey, weren't you in yesterday telling me that?
I wasn't yesterday, buddy. I was watching you sell e-bikes. You always have a big smile on your face, Len, and especially when the sun's shining and people are all over the lot test driving e-bikes. Buddy, first and foremost, how did the weekend sale go? And nothing but sunny skies ahead, man. You got to sell some more bikes, Len.
Yeah, the product's catching on. Some interesting facts. It was the third best weekend in the history of my bike store, which is a little over 6 years. We've been just really busy since the weather changed. It's it's just some stored-up demand because we really like customers to try their bikes before they make a decision on buying one. And when the weather's so cold, they don't come in. But we got really, really busy. E-bikes are great, listeners. I mean, you can't if you don't know about an e-bike, look, you better find out, because there are many nations, Western cultures, European nations, where e-bikes outsell regular bikes. And they're a great product. They're a regular bike. You pedal it, you ride it. Every e-bike comes with 2 wheels, a seat, 2 pedals, handlebars. Just a regular bike, but just press a little button when you're having trouble getting up that hill, and up you go. Zoom.
Lenny,
wonderful.
I met a nice lady in your parking lot yesterday. She had her bike apparently put away for the winter. She brought it in the back of her SUV. And one of your young guys, she was looking for you, and you had so many customers out there biking and, test driving. I just said, well, let me see if Lenny's got staff inside. He cannot be the only salesman here in this store. And sure enough, I found one of your nice, capable, the real young-looking guy. I mean, that guy had her bike ready for the road in like five minutes.
The young man is Kean West. He's a high school student, and he works for us on weekends. He's a joy to be around. He does everything. He helps people load bikes that have been repaired or on layaway. He vacuums at the end of the day. He'll sell a bike if there's a chance to do that. He's a great young man.
Well, I was going to say he was...
Nice to see high school students working. I love it.
And he was an eager guy, and he got the job done. The young lady seemed quite pleased at the end of the experience. And Lenny, I guess I would point that out. I think you have learned that it's more than just buying a product. The product, I would say, for some people, Lenny, one couple I watched, they were buying a bike from you, man. What'd they want to do next? They wanted selfies with Lenny by their shiny new e-bike. Buddy, you guys make it an experience. Buying an e-bike should be fun, right?
Yeah, were you there for that? That was fun. Yeah.
You would think Lenny, you would think
Stromer bikes. They were from Switzerland, where Stromer bicycles are made, sort of the gold-plated wall bicycles. And we rode up a couple of bikes. They were a husband and wife. They were thrilled. Took pictures and all.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Crazy Lenny from Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes joins us on the phone. Hey, Lenny, you were telling a story, and you mentioned a layaway. Do you do layaway? Do you do financing? If people want to come in and get a bike, what can you offer in that regard?
Well, a layaway is a little different. Perhaps you're interested in a bike, and a sale is going to end in a few days, the special on that particular product. So to hold the sale price, you put down a deposit. This could be as little as $200. And then you can come back if it's a nicer day, you have more time to really test the bike out on the bike trail. And if you love it, great. And if you don't love it, of course, you get your $200 back. But then there's also financing, where you pay a certain amount down, depends on the value of the bike, and then you can make monthly payments. And then, of course, there's the good old charge card. But we'll figure out a way for you to pay for it, one way or another. But we just really love to sell bikes.
Yeah, we know. No, you do, Lenny. Let me ask you one question with regards to the electric portion. Electric bikes, you can have a throttle, you can have a handle, a button. Yeah, what about the maintenance on these? Does the electrical portion make it any more of a high maintenance bike than a regular bike?
No, actually, it's counterintuitive to say this. I realize that, but actually, even though the bike has the addition of a battery and motor, if it's one of the better bikes, a little computer that controls pedal pressure. And these e-bikes actually don't require more service, even though you have that additional electronics. And the reason is the basic bike is engineered to be an e-bike, and so other components are heavier duty, starting with the frame, the bottom bracket, always a heavier chain, a little more supportive brakes. In fact, most of our e-bikes have hydraulic disc brakes, similar to an automobile system, where you never have to adjust a cable or anything. So we're not seeing a lot of service.
Well, I was going to say, like this young lady just wanted the tires pumped up, wanted to know that, she was ready for the road this year. Do you mind when your customers bring the e-bikes back and just get a little quick tune-up, quick, make sure they're doing it right this year in case, in this case, it was checking the battery and making sure it was charged properly.
Right.
Well, you kind of forget. It's been 6 months since we saw sunshine and roadways in the state, Lenny. Do you mind if the customers stop back?
Rudy, your bike is due in for a tune-up. Yes, we do. We check your battery. We even bought a computerized device where we could check every cell within that magical lithium-ion battery and make sure that they're even, putting out even power across the range. I'll give you a printout of that. So we have the right equipment to service e-bikes. Motor, power output, can check it all for you.
Hey, Lenny, it's kind of off topic, but here in the paper in Milwaukee, a columnist is calling me Trumpian, analogizing yours truly, Crudy, to Donald Trump. I wanted to get your take on that analogy. You've known me about 5 years, Len. What do you think? Am I good enough to be labeled Donald Trump?
Like if Trump could exponentially, if you don't know, that means a lot, increase his leadership skills a lot, and if he could be less dramatic, okay, then he might equal your skills.
Oh, I'm going to cut you off right there, Lenny. That damn near sounded like an endorsement. Crazy Lenny Mattioli. Go see him at his e-bike store, Research Park, Odana Road in Madison. More Devil's Advocates, hour 2 when we come back.
Merchandising! We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only ordering classic corner tavern.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Toronto van attack, drawing down on the suspect. I'm Michael Toscano.
He hit every single person on the sidewalk. Anybody in his way he would hit.
A witness in downtown Toronto this afternoon describing the apparently deliberate driving of a van into pedestrians. 9 people now officially declared dead, 16 others injured. Correspondent Jason Carroll following the investigation.
The driver, who once again is in custody, he was wearing all black, has not been identified clearly. Investigators have a lot of questions for him.
In Nashville, a tip from a citizen helped police get their hands on 29-year-old Travis Reinking, suspect in the Waffle House shooting that left 4 people dead yesterday. Nashville Police Lieutenant Carlos Lara says Reinking was hiding out in the woods when captured by Officer Kyle Williams.
Detective Williams drew down on the suspect. The suspect proned out. He told him to get on the ground. He got on the ground immediately, proned himself out. Other detectives came and assisted, put him into custody, and put him in cuffs.
Bill Cosby's lawyers rested their case this afternoon in his retrial on sexual assault charges, with the comedian declining to testify in his own defense against a woman's accusation that he drugged and raped her in 2004. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee is scheduled to vote soon on the nomination of CIA Director Mike Pompeo to be Secretary of State. Phil Mattingly reports the committee may fail to make a positive recommendation to the full Senate, with one or two Republicans expected to join Democrats in voting no.
His posture, which they consider far too hawkish for a diplomatic position, past comments related to LGBT issues or Muslims, their rationale for voting no, but also they're concerned about how close he is to the president, which underscores the fact that the president himself is really looming large over this nomination.
Trading on Wall Street was weighed down today by a sliding tech sector and soft demand for smartphones, apparently. The Dow was down over 100 points for a while, but rallied at the close and lost only 14 points for the day. The Nasdaq was off almost 18, while the S&P 500 squeaked up just a fraction. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Tomorrow night marks the first ever state dinner at the White House for President and Mrs. Trump, with the First Lady described as being a hands-on manager of the event in honor of French President Emmanuel Macron.
The Trump state dinner is going to be about 100 to 150 people inside the state dining room at the White House. The First Lady planned everything from the menu to the chair cushions.
That's correspondent Kate Bennett, who tells us the First Lady has a lot riding on the event.
This is definitely a pressure moment for Melania Trump, who, certainly has spent a lot of time focusing on this, and we'll see how it goes.
On another social note, historian Kate Williams tells us Britain's Prince William and Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, have given birth to a robust baby boy.
And there was a suspicion it was going to be a boy, because Prince William let it slip. He said, maybe we'll call it Jack. Oh, Jackie. People have been waiting here for days. The fans have been here expecting the royal baby, and now here we are, a little prince.
Mom and Dad and the publicly unnamed baby left the hospital for Kensington Palace 7 hours after the birth. I'm Michael.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. University of Wisconsin Regent Brian Steele, a Republican, says he will run for Paul Ryan's congressional seat. Property owners along the proposed water pipeline route from Milwaukee to Waukesha have been notified that they will soon see contractors in their neighborhood. The city of Milwaukee and Dane County are making big investments in solar energy. And this month is the third coldest April on record in Milwaukee and the coldest since 1975. Mostly sunny this afternoon, then mostly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight around 40 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-50s. For Wednesday, sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2. Dominic, thank you to our good friend and fine sponsor, Crazy E-Bike, Lenny Mattioli. You know, I think he's a very shrewd businessman, Dom. He does business with this radio station. I know we're, small sticked according to some, and insignificant according to others. But Lenny knows that I know how to help him do commerce because, A, it's part of the experience. I mean, be it the young man helping service people out in the parking lot, pump up the tires and take care of their bike, or whether it's the Lenny Mattioli experience, man, that's worth the price of admission.
Oh,
right
for
there.
sure. It's all about the Lenny experience.
If you ever buy an e-bike in your life, you want to do it from our friend Lenny Mattioli. Go see him, Research Park, Odana Road in Madison. They've got a very safe bike trail, and tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Thanks, Lenny.
Yeah, you better get a new ad up soon, Lenny. To finish the thought, the critical anonymous source dim strategist that said, Mike Crute, he should have been out there back when it was a toss-up. A, it's still a toss-up. And B...
Oh, yeah, why are you anybody getting in so late?
If I wasn't so damn busy a year ago, perhaps I would have. And I was encouraged to join the field at that time. Get out early. Be the first guy to announce. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get a radio station. I'm trying to get a platform for democratic and independent thought and just fact-based sort of conversation.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, that's I'm sure it's very troubling to those on the right that I try to tell the truth around here. And I've been investing both in people and in dollars in terms of how we build things. And this is my vision. And, so if insiders think I'm being selfish, at whose expense, precisely, have I been selfish? Which one of the 16 did I just wreck? Right? I mean, should I not be looking after myself? I can tell you this. I don't see anyone in that field looking out for me or this radio station.
Or what about the listeners?
And
the audience?
And here's the final thought. The audience. Thank you for listening. Those of you that have become fans, you're also great people. But like I said, I went out there and I campaigned as the very, very first time. I just envisioned a campaign on the radio, right? And I'd go out and I'd do my TV interviews, and I had a few. Thank you, Ellen Fallon over at Capital City Sunday. Enjoyed my appearance there. Thank you, Theo Keith. Thank you to the different people that have involved me and interviewed me this week. I've appreciated all the free press.
No, the party's over, man.
But the party's over. I've got to qualify for the ballot. And Sherry, the young lady at the Coffee Makes You Black, gave me that good advice. You go beat 2,000 voters. Well, first and foremost, I still will need some volunteers to help me out. Anyone that would like to get involved with my campaign, I had a novel idea.
Ooh.
A campaign launch party.
Hey!
1 week from today at another one of our fine sponsors, Dom, the Roman Coin right here on Brady Street in beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It will be a closed event. As you know, Dom, the Roman Coin closed on Mondays. But for friends of the Devil's Advocates and anyone else that would like to be, a volunteer, would like to help us launch properly as a campaign, what's the name of the good stuff she's getting us?
Oh, Eastside Dark, Lakefront Brewery, Eastside
I'm
Dark. Brian, he's already there.
I'm seeking support for the campaign, not just, people to rub elbows by the tapper, just for the record. But yeah, we're going to do a campaign launch party. Thank you to Terry down at the Roman Coin. I'm going to do a campaign launch at her at her fine establishment right here on Brady Street next Monday, 6 to 9 p.m. Hope to see you there. But here's the point. The dim insider that said, if only he had done the work for the last year. You know what? You don't know what you don't know until you know it. And a week ago, I'd have said, Pusha. And now I say, valid point. Valid point. And in retrospect, I wish I would have had a year. I wish I had a year going forward. I mean, there's still plenty of time between now and Election Day in November. But I truly feel after meeting hundreds, literally me going out and seeking the signature of hundreds of different people, not friends, but strangers to me when I met them. Man, that's the best part. I had no concept. I thought I liked doing this. I like doing that even better. And I wish I had the time. I truly, in my heart, I believe this, Tom. If I had the opportunity to meet with and talk to every Wisconsinite, they would know the sincerity in my heart, the passion I feel for politics, the commitment I've made financially, personally, and otherwise. And they wouldn't question the selfishness as they perceive it or the ego. Yes, I got a big ego. Guilty. But the rest of it, not so much.
Don't you have to have some ego to run for public office?
You know, here's the point.
The question is, do you have thin skin?
Not quite that Trumpian. Haven't you heard this statement? If only the best and the brightest would get into politics. Well, here I am. I'm only happy and a smart ass when I say that, right? You want good people. You want qualified candidates. You don't want someone who's been part of the corrupted political process for, their entire lives. Got a state assembly job in 1993 on a special election and clung on.
Oh, like Governor Walker?
Through like 18 subsequent elections since, right? If that's not what you want.
A lifelong politician?
You want someone who's on the outside. Well, if you want talented people from the outside, some of them are going to come with skills and ego, because accomplished people, that builds your self-confidence. Those that are leaders, those aren't the meek. The bold lead. The meek stay home. That's why they're called the meek. So if you want me to be meek, if you want me to get out of the way and, let you insiders from D.C., those that successfully ran the John Kerry campaign or whatever campaign qualifies you to be an insider, if you're going to pusha me and question my sincerity, I would just say, you're right. I wish I would have started sooner, because if I could meet every voter in the state of Wisconsin, if I could do the full Tommy Thompson, and I'm going to claim the mantle, Dom. I am the Democratic Tommy Thompson.
What does that mean exactly?
That means we're all Badgers. That means we're all in this together, and it's time to end the animus. Tommy earned my vote once, and I've never really seen myself as a Republican sort of guy. But what I did see, the quality I love about Tommy Thompson, I never questioned where his heart was. He was in it for the people of Wisconsin. Now, does Tommy got an ego? I would guess. But is Tommy a Wisconsinite? Yeah, I'd shake his hand. I'd bring him on the show tomorrow. I'd offer him a cold one. Tommy is my kind of guy. Now, ideologically, would I govern like Tommy? Little differently, I would hope, except in the way you treat one another as Wisconsinites, as Badgers, as human beings. And if I had the opportunity, would I do it differently? If I knew now what a year ago I did not know, well, you probably wouldn't have this radio station, but I might have a little stronger candidacy. Or you can have both. And I'll take my chances. And sure, I'd love to meet everyone in northern part of Wisconsin in different parts. But in the meantime, Dom, I gotta do me. That's what I got to do. I got to be sincere. I check 100% of my own boxes as a candidate. Yeah. I have never felt so strongly. I've never so strongly endorsed a candidate in my life, perhaps barring Bernie Sanders. I mean, I probably like Bernie 110%. He checks all the boxes.
Feel the burn, feel the burn, feel the burn.
And Dom, he made a big proposition. I mean, you got to have broad vision. You got to be aspirational. The meek stay home. The meek don't govern. The meek are in the minority. I don't want to be in the minority. I want to be bold. I want to lead. I want to be Bernie Sanders-like. I want to have broad vision. And Bernie's newest one, a guaranteed job for every American. You get a job, and you get a job, and you get a job. And Dom, of course, says, how are you going to pay for that?
How are you going to pay for that?
Well, let's debate that when we come back. Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, 844-967-2789. We want you to tell us, is this feasible? Can you do it? And should we even bother dreaming big? Or just listen to the insiders?
Mike, that's a very good question.
That is totally taken out of context.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate. And they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%. When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's the 420 segment. You can join us on the line, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, are Americans entitled to a job?
No.
Should you have a job? Should the government perhaps create a job for you, a social safety net, which is effectively a guaranteed employment? Bernie Sanders would think so. You know, and it was just a few years ago. Remember July of 2015, Bernie Sanders rocketed the Allied, the Coliseum in Madison, like it was a rock concert.
Hell yeah.
And what was he talking about? The 99% health care for all, free college. I remember even I was a cynic. I'm like, free college, man. We can't do that, can we? And now I'm advocating for free tech school education funded with legalized marijuana in the state of Wisconsin. The money is there. We could do it. There just has to be a priority and a will.
Right.
Well, Bernie Sanders got a new priority, or at least a new proposition, aspirational, I would say, Dom, by Jeff Stein at the Washington Post. Bernie Sanders to announce a plan to guarantee every American a job. Let's read. Senator Bernie Sanders will announce a plan for the federal government to guarantee a job paying $15 an hour and healthcare benefits to every American worker who wants or needs one, embracing the kind of large-scale government works project that Democrats have shied away from in recent decades. It's because we're so bold, Dom. Sanders' job guarantee would fund hundreds of projects throughout the United States aimed at addressing priorities such as infrastructure, caregiving, the environment, education, and other goals. Under the job guarantee, every American would be entitled to a job under one of those projects or receive job training to be able to do so, according to an early draft of the proposal. A representative from Sanders' office said they had not yet done a cost estimate for the plan or decided how it would be funded, saying they were still crafting the proposal. Dom, pay for it, man. This is aspirational. We work out the details after the fact.
Oh, don't you think you should figure out how much money you got to work with to start with?
I do think, as a businessman, as a guy who's got to make decisions predicated on finances, I do think you got to at least have a goal number, a figure of a payment method, let's call it. But let me read on. Sanders joins two other rumored 2020 Democratic presidential contenders who have expressed support for the idea of a jobs guarantee. The push reflects a leftward move in the party's economic policy away from President Barack Obama's use of public-private partnerships or government incentives to reshape private markets and toward an unambiguous embrace of direct government intervention, or as the Republicans would call it, socialism or worse. Job guarantee advocates say their plan would drive up wages by significantly increasing competition for workers, ensuring that corporations have to offer more generous salaries and benefits if they want to keep their employees from working for the government. Supporters say it would reduce racial inequality because black workers face unemployment at about twice the rate of white workers, as well as gender inequality because many iterations of the plan call for the expansion of federal child care work. Here's a quote, Dom. Derek Hamilton, an economist at the New School, who has advocated for a jobs guarantee, along with Stony Brook University's Stephanie Kelton and a group of left-leaning economists at the Levi Economics Institute at Baird College, had this to say. The goal is to eliminate working poverty and involuntary unemployment altogether. This is an opportunity for something transformative, beyond the tinkering we've been doing for the last 40 years, where all the productivity gains have gone to the elite
This
of
is
society.
A piece on the Washington Post by Jeff Stein. I will continue, Crudy. Others, including some Democrats, are not convinced. The idea is also dead on arrival with Republicans in control of Congress. And conservatives have trashed the idea of a jobs guarantee as impractical, impossibly expensive, and dangerous to the private sector. It completely undercuts a lot of industries and companies, said Brian Riedel, of the conservative-leaning Manhattan Institute, a think tank. There will be pressure to introduce a higher wage or certain benefits that the private sector doesn't offer. Ernie Tedeschi, an economist who served in the Obama Treasury Department, said there would be large logistical and practical challenges in ensuring millions of new federal jobs serve productive ends. It would be extremely expensive, and I wonder if this is the best, most targeted use of the amount of money it would cost. Critics point to potential unintended consequences of the plan. Although it would probably boost wages for workers, those higher wages could bump up costs for private businesses, leading some to hire fewer workers, or take other steps such as reducing benefits or looking to replace workers with machines. These effects would be more pronounced if the plan were to pull away workers who hold private sector jobs rather than pulling in workers without jobs who wanted them. The unemployment rate currently sits at 4.1%, a historically low figure, but that figure does not include people who've given up looking for work, and the labor force participation rate, a broader measure of those not working, suggests there may be people not counted among the unemployment who would join the workforce. Crew, you're going to run out of time here, so let me just jump forward here a little bit. Once approved, projects would hire workers at a minimum salary of $15 an hour and pay family and medical leave and offer the same retirement, health, and sick and annual leave benefits as other federal employees. About 2,500 job training center and employment offices already exist around the country, and the plan imagines tasking them with connecting workers to these local projects. When the programs are up and running, anyone can wander into a job center and, at least in theory, find either job training or a job on one of those projects. The plan's authors envision millions of Americans being hired under the proposal, with the number going up during economic recessions in the private sector and down during economic booms. They also say it would significantly increase the government's involvement in the American economy to a level not seen since World War II, if ever, in the country's history. Beyond how to pay for the plan, many other aspects of the jobs guarantee have not been specified. It's not clear what would happen to a worker who violated terms of employment. The plan suggests creating a division of progress investigation to take disciplinary action if needed, leaving authority to the head of the Labor Department. Aides to Sanders stress the policy details remains in their initial stages. Proponents trace the idea to the New Deal era, occurred when Roosevelt pitched a second Bill of Rights to Congress in 1944. First on that list, right to a useful and remunerative job. It's not a radical idea, said Hamilton. It was well couched in the Democratic platform that existed in its heyday. I'm glad Democrats are trending back to their roots.
Hashtag Feel the Burn. We'll talk about it. Are you entitled to a job? I'd like to know. 844-967-2789. Call or text right now.
Ever since I started working, every single day of my life has been worse than the day before it.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
Is today the worst day of your life?
Yeah.
I loved my previous life. I had so many things going.
Wow, that's messed up.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Join us during Milwaukee's YP Week Milwaukee, presented by Northwestern Mutual. On Wednesday, April 25th from 11:30 to 1, Dom and Crute from the Devil's Advocates will host a new program called Political Open Mic, where we'll dive deep into different aspects of Milwaukee's education system. Justin Morales and Mandela Barnes will share their thoughts and ideas on the future of our education system and what it will take to get there. Do you have ideas? Make your voice heard at Good City Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 25th at 11:30. For more information, visit Milwaukee.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The only election I've ever won was Milwaukee's Best Local Entrepreneur 2017. I'm not your typical politician, but I'd like to be the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. I've acted as a fiduciary for my clients for the last decade, putting their needs before my own. I will do the same for you. Red and blue, R's and D's, we all do business with each other on Main Street. We're all Badgers. It's time we started acting like it. This message paid for by Crute for Wisconsin. Find us at cruteforwisconsin.com.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The leader of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, Mary Nell Reagan, is resigning from her position. This month is the third coldest April on record in Milwaukee and the coldest since 1975. The Bucks beat the Celtics yesterday 104-102. That series is now tied at 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tomorrow evening in Boston. And the Brewers have now won 6 games in a row. They have today off, then go to Kansas City for 2 games. Mostly sunny this afternoon, then mostly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight around 40 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-50s. For Wednesday, sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines open for you, toll free, 844-967-2789. You can also text us, but your local texting rates, however that works, that may apply. Consider that some sort of legal disclosure. I think I covered it.
Text at your own risk.
Now, are we entitled to a job? Bernie Sanders wants to say government guaranteed job. We got lots of infrastructure problems.
Entitled? No. Should we look at perhaps addressing some of our infrastructure needs with some sort of public plan? Sure.
Buddy, how about we repeal and replace the Republican tax plan with the jobs plan? Let's find out if people like Bernie's newest aspirational proposal. 844-967-2789. Mike from Chicago, you're first today. Welcome, sir.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I got to turn down Kanye. I was jamming out. It's awesome to have him.
Hey, Mike.
Both musically and politically. He's incredible. Hey, I was calling you about the Bernie Sanders $15 an hour plan. I think it's a good idea. It would be immediately feasible if we deport the 25 million illegal immigrants in our country. They make up over 10% of the workforce, and if you do the math, that would jump us up just automatically over $15 an hour right away for Americans who pay taxes. It would be fantastic.
So, Mike, are you going to go take the jobs that the immigrants have been doing? Would you be down for that?
You going to pick fruit for $15 an hour, buddy?
But other people who aren't as fortunate as me could have the jobs and make $15 an hour. It would be fantastic.
Let me ask you, sir. State of Alabama tried that, and vegetables were rotten in the fields. If that was such a winnable solution, I mean, Alabama literally made it almost impossible for an immigrant to get a job in their state, and the immigrants left, and nobody stepped up, sir. What are you going to do then?
Right, because it's a free market. The illegal immigrants just went to other states. They went to Mississippi or Florida or Georgia or California.
Well, what about poor Alabamans, man? They didn't get their broccoli, sir.
Right, it doesn't work. And obviously, it's not realistic to deport 25 million illegal immigrants. But if we deport the criminals who are in jail, I mean, at $55 a year per head that we're jailing for whatever reason instead of deporting them, or if we stop more illegal immigrants from coming in, if we stop giving, birthright, if we take away that birthright thing where somebody is just born in the country, then they're automatically a citizen and have rights, we'd be a whole lot better off. We're one of the few countries in the world that have such a weak immigration policy. And if I remember in 2016, most of the election, one of the biggest points was about illegal immigration and border
from
security.
the Trump perspective, Mike, let me ask you the flip side of that equation. We got we got boomers. They're getting older and older and older. And lots of CNAs are going to be needed, lots of home health care providers. In many cases, those are the lowest rung of the pay scale. Sometimes those jobs are filled by, illegal immigrants, people that don't have proper legal documentation to work here. Mike, this country needs more immigrants. You hear Republicans tell it, people aren't having enough white babies. Well, if you don't have a new generation to fill in for the generation that will, actuarially speaking, die at some point, Mike, if we don't get new immigrants, man, this country is doomed, sir. I think you've learned the wrong lesson.
What you just said
Go ahead, your turn.
The Koch brothers agree with you 100%, and I'm sure they'd be happy to fund your campaign if you promise to bring in more illegal immigrants. That's one of their biggest policies, and Paul Ryan's a big supporter of that as well.
I'm not clear that that's the case, sir, but why could we not open broader doors to legal immigration? I have an employee who literally...
Then we could have... I agree with you. I actually do agree with you. Then we could have folks who have degrees and have, they're maybe not coming from certain countries at the same percentage. I don't want to sound like I'm, being a nasty person.
Trumpian in your tone, sir.
More illegal immigration, and you're a little more selective, and instead of having illegal immigration and just anybody comes over, and you have a preponderance of people from one or two countries. If you had legal and opened it up, then you could have educated people who could contribute from all over the world.
But then you're missing the point, I think, in some way, Mike. And I appreciate your call, 844-967-2789. The question is not, can immigrants, with exceptional skills get to the United States? Ask Melania. HB-PB1 visas. There are methods to get people that are educated, or perhaps if you're an investor in the Kushner real estate deal, you can get an exemption with a $500,000 investment.
They tried.
There's lots of ways for elites to get in this country, but elites ain't going to get out there and pick the fruit, Michael. So assuming someone has to be inspired by the $15 an hour, someone that's not you've made that very clear, sir. So someone is probably going to be from the immigrant community. And if someone's got a worse circumstance, if they've been working their ass off in Central America and they come here, $15 an hour seems like a godsend. Being able to provide shelter and food and stability for their family seems like a godsend. But if you think we just need to encourage more, white Americans to take these bad jobs, I don't think that's the way the scenario is going to play out, because they tried that in Alabama and it didn't happen there.
It totally discounts what the true value of this country is. And if we take in just those that have made it, quote unquote, in other countries, what about those that are in terrible conditions because of the state of their country? And I'm not even going to say what the influences
perhaps Syrian
our foreign
refugees
policies may
you're
have
talking?
had. But sure. But if you look at this country, it is the opportunity that this country provides. How many stories have you heard about, someone, a child of an immigrant or immigrant
gets
themselves,
off the boat with $5 in their pocket.
And worked their ass off and played by the rules and did everything and hustled and made it, quote unquote, made something of themselves, became employers. Those stories are not to be dismissed. It is the environment, the opportunity that this country provides that is the value, not the source of the human being where they came from.
Bernie Sanders thinks everyone should be entitled to a $15 an hour government job. Mike from Chicago, our first caller, says, hell no, not unless you deport all the immigrants. And I'm not kosher for that, let's just say. 844-967-2789. More opinions heard from here. Randy from Madison, you're next. Welcome, sir. What's your thought?
Hi, guys. I haven't been able to call in a while. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree that a good start would be the infrastructure deal, kind of like FDR or whomever did. But listen, the reason I called is because I've given it a lot of thought, and I know that you, Michael Krut, are probably the most intelligent and informed person as to all the ins and outs of what has gone on in this state for the last 10 years or so. And you have your memory is extremely sharp, and I know that you can argue points with just about anybody and cite provable, objective facts to, back yourself up. And I know
Randy, thank you so much for noticing, sir. I'm sorry I interrupted. I don't mean to be rude.
I honestly think that you could actually do a better job than anyone else as far as progressive change, because you're a fighter and you're smart, and it's not just the politics and the corruption. I mean, it's the stuff that's gone on with the environment and the DNR and the education and everything else. So I'm really encouraging people to become aware of you. I've been listening to you guys forever, and I'm really excited. Can I ask Dom a question?
Please do.
Yeah, man.
Don, do you think that Michael would be the best candidate?
That's not fair, man. Don't put him on the spot.
Do I think Michael would be the best candidate? I don't endorse Randy, but yes, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I've been talking. I've known Mike for 25 years, and we've been arguing politics that entire time. And I've really learned a lot by his side here about in the state of Wisconsin over the last 6 years of doing the show. And we would argue was usually more about big picture national political situations.
Iraq War, George W. Bush, that kind of stuff.
But then, when the recall came and of course the arrest started happening, and we really started dialing in and getting to know what the local scene was here, I became absolutely appalled. I got to be honest, Randy. I didn't know to the degree of corruption that was going on, how it was actually being done here in the state of Wisconsin and led and perpetuated by Governor Scott Walker and his allies. They just rolled over this entire state. I mean, everything, all my cynicism of growing up of, an overreaching, unbearable government, was being realized by the Republican Party here in the state of Wisconsin. I'm not saying that's all Republicans, but that's my specific
But they're
view.
in charge currently, Randy.
Right. And one of the people that I rely on, that I've come to know to trust on these issues, is Krut. And damn, I mean, if we get a fact wrong, if he gets a fact wrong, it's pretty rare because, as you mentioned, he's got a sharp, great memory.
Although enunciation, entirely different issue, Randy.
Right. Yeah, to give him forgiveness on that. But no, I mean, who knows the issues better? I don't know anyone that knows the issues better than Krut does. And so, yeah, I think he'd be a great candidate, dude. Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Randy.
Good work.
All right, man.
Hey, thanks for listening on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 Columbus, Madison. Your calls, your voices, welcome here at 844-967-2789. I believe Brad from Jefferson next up on the phones. Brad, welcome, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Excellent,
good,
Brad.
Man.
That guy annoyed me.
Yeah, that Dominic gets on my nerves too, Brad.
Come on, man.
No, not that guy. The other guy.
Mike from Chicago who wants to deport all the immigrants.
Yes. I mean, there is a right and a wrong, and it's not necessarily having anything to do with the law. That's for damn sure. Anyway, many of the brown people, they had relatives living in North America and within the borders of the United States a couple hundred years ago, before all these European people came and killed a bunch of them and stole their stuff. That would be under the wrong. So, sometimes I question whether I actually believe in borders, but I definitely don't believe what that guy does to get rid of everyone.
Nor I, Brad. Brad, here in the state of Wisconsin, where you live, Jefferson area, you guys have a backyard pipeline issue, Pipeline 61 in Bridge. I don't believe in the pollution of the state of Wisconsin. I don't believe corporations should be able to run roughshod, grab land through eminent domain, and then supposed leadership, the government says, you know what, you can't even force them on local municipalities. You can't even force this corporation in Bridge to properly ensure their liability. Brad, it may not be your issue, but it's one near and dear to me. What about the pipeline running through your backyard over in Jefferson? What's your thought on that?
Actually, it's been my issue, but not my primary issue. I've been working with Ronnie in Brave, Wisconsin a little bit on that. We need accountability. And, like, what these business owners are doing is they're using their connections to shift the costs onto the people, okay? And they're actually violating free market principles. In a free market, they would not be able to, like, push the costs of them polluting my water onto me. They should have to pay for their own profits.
Well, and for all the Republicans that scream bloody murder over Solyndra, how does Foxconn look? The Foxconn deal from the state of Wisconsin is 9 times bigger than the Solyndra deal. Talking about picking winners and losers, and the ones we pick is a foreign corporation. Scott Walker picked them. I didn't pick them. And of course, right here in the state of Wisconsin, our own tax policies, Brad, are trickled down, benefiting the rich, you know, those that write Scott Walker checks. Manufacturer and agribusiness tax credit, Brad, 0.4%, meaning a working stiff like you out in the state of Wisconsin, Brad, six-pack, Jane Badger, you're out there in Wisconsin paying taxes, but this foreign corporation, even if highly successful, will only pay 0.4% effective taxes. Well, talking about the rest of us carrying the dead weight for corporations, it used to be nationwide 30% of the tax revenue came from corporations. I believe we're down to about 25% of that measure. About 8% of the taxes now come from the corporations. Brad, if they're not paying the taxes, who is? It's you and me, buddy.
Yep.
Because we as individuals cannot stand up to a big corporation. They got bigger lobbyists, and the old way of doing it, you join the union, you collectively bargain, you bring your voices together in brotherhood and sisterhood. Well, Scott Walker, he divided and conquered those. He dropped the bomb in Act 10, and then he rolled out the right to work. You know, after he promised he wasn't going to do it, it wasn't his priority. And then he won re-election, and he used right to work in super-duper emergency session. Last time I was on Capital City Sunday was with Scott Grabens, the Republican Party chair in Dane County. And he and I did a little debate over right to work in extraordinary super-duper session. And I told Scott Grabens, you know, you think I'm inconsistent? You think I've changed? Go watch that appearance. Back in 2015, I haven't changed one little bit. I've been standing up for workers and people against the corporations and the policies of those that would divide and conquer us. We're all working stiffs, whether or not you join the union. Unless you're a billionaire, and you ain't listening to me if you are, we're in this together. Why would we let a foreign corporation do better than the people of the citizens of the state of Wisconsin? Why would we let any corporation have precedent, be front and center at the expense of you and me, and even taxed enough already, Dominic? Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open for your comments. 844-967-2789.
We are people of compassion.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
Don't come unlawfully. File for lawful entrance and wait your turn.
Get them out. Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Join us during Milwaukee's YP Week Milwaukee, presented by Northwestern Mutual. On Wednesday, April 25th from 11:30 to 1, Dom and Crute from the Devil's Advocates will host a new program called Political Open Mic, where we'll dive deep into different aspects of Milwaukee's education system. Justin Morales and Mandela Barnes will share their thoughts and ideas on the future of our education system and what it will take to get there. Do you have ideas? Make your voice heard at Good City Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 25th at 11:30. For more information, visit Milwaukee.com.
Charged, never convicted. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the phone lines 844-967-2789.
Dominic, not only is it a Monday, Fox News is reporting biblical prophecy claims the rapture is coming today.
Today?
Happy Rapture Day to you, everyone.
I notice we're all still here. At a certain time, or do we know?
Well, I've noticed Fancy Brian keeps intermittently disappearing during segments, but I don't think that's the rapture.
I know things that you don't, but they're nothing to do with the rapture.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Now you got me wondering.
Crudy.
I'm wondering what's next, Dom.
Well, lots of articles out there today to discuss. Here's one we're not going to get into, but here's the headline. Why Democrats must, for the sake of the future, repeal and replace the Republican tax cut. A little dry, but you can find it on the Post, Jared Bernstein. But here's one that I think...
And on our Facebook page at Devil's Advocates Radio.
Spells it out entirely. From Vox. Wells Fargo just got fined $1 billion.
That's a lot of money, Dom.
Republicans cut its taxes by $3.7 billion.
So you got the banksters sticking it to people. Wells Fargo, their issue was what? They were opening up accounts to meet performance bonuses for people that did not consent to opening accounts. What was the crime specifically that elicited a $1 billion fine down?
No, I think this is separate of that action you speak.
Oh, more
Rudy.
malfeasance over at Wells Fargo. No offense to the good people at Wells Fargo, but the bad people at Wells Fargo have given you a bad name.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the U.S. government's top consumer watchdog, hit Wells Fargo with a $1 billion fine on Friday for improperly charging thousands of customers for auto insurance they didn't need. It's the agency's second largest fine in its history. I don't even have
a car.
And its first enforcement action since Mick Mulvaney took over as acting director in November. While Wells Fargo would certainly rather avoid the penalty, it's not going under because of it either. The bank is expected to make $3.7 billion from the Republican tax bill this year, which is nearly 4 times what the CFPB fined them. Wells Fargo agreed to pay $1 billion to the CFPB and the Office of Comptroller of the Currency, a bank regulator, for both the initial offense and to lock in low mortgage rates. The bank has faced numerous penalties in recent years for its bad behavior. Some of its practices and business areas, such as a foreign exchange trade dispute and recommendations made by its wealth division, are still under scrutiny. It was fined $185 million in September of 2016, including $100 million by the CFPB under Mulvaney's predecessor for issuing millions of fake credit card accounts over a span of years. The Federal Reserve in February said the bank wouldn't be allowed to get any bigger until it cleans up its act and pressured it to remove some of its members of its board of directors.
Scott Walker brags all the time. Occupy didn't start on Wall Street. It started on his street. Well, Dom, as we turn to the happy hour, I'm going to turn to a little hashtag Walker bashing. Robert Samuels at the Post. Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform, but as work requirements grow, so does one family's desperation. I suspect it's many families. We are the Devil's Advocates, the happy hour. It starts on Brady right now. You can join us, 844-967-2789.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Are you Roman Catholic? Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you can't come.
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. Educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to We the People for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P4PPC.org, P4PPC.org. I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Deadly van attack, Waffle House suspect nabbed. I'm Ann Cates. 9 people have died and 16 were injured after a van drove into pedestrians along a busy Toronto street. Toronto Deputy Police Chief Peter Ewan says the motorist has been arrested.
We've located that vehicle. The driver's in custody right now, and he's been investigated to the events that took place this afternoon. I also want to offer my condolences to the families and the victims of this tragic event that took place.
Authorities in Tennessee have captured the alleged gunman who began shooting at a Waffle House in Nashville, killing 4. Correspondent Clayton Neville.
The Metro Nashville Police Department tweeted that Travis Ryan King was taken into custody this afternoon after being found in a wooded area. Ryan King opened fire in the restaurant early yesterday morning wearing only a jacket and ran from the scene after a short scuffle with a man inside. Ryan King had multiple run-ins recently with police and the FBI.
Senator Rand Paul has changed his mind and will approve the nomination of Mike Pompeo to become Secretary of State. The move means the Senate Foreign Relations Committee will give the nod to Pompeo on a party line vote of 11-10. The defense has rested its case in the sexual assault retrial of Bill Cosby in suburban Philadelphia.
The defense looked for an old friend of Andrea Constand, but despite subpoenas, they were unable to compel Sherry Williams to testify. So the defense asked the judge if they could read her sworn deposition from Constand's 2005 civil suit against the comedian. The judge denied the request. The defense believed that Williams' words would contradict Constand's claim that she didn't know Cosby was interested in her romantically. When testimony resumed, Cosby's lawyers called witnesses who cast doubt on whether Cosby was in the Philadelphia area on the day that Constand claimed she was drugged and sexually assaulted at his suburban home. I'm Steve Kastenbaum.
On Wall Street, the Dow fell 14 points, the S&P flat, the Nasdaq down 18. I'm Ann Cates.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
Sleep.
Team officials have updated the condition of Chicago White Sox reliever Daniel Farquhar, who collapsed in the dugout Friday night.
Farquhar underwent successful surgery on Saturday to address a brain aneurysm. The team said he has all use of his extremities and is responding appropriately to questions and commands and is speaking to his doctors and family. He's listed in critical but stable condition in the ICU at Rush, where he's expected to remain for the next few weeks. The incident happened just after he had pitched 2/3 of an inning in the team's game against the Houston Astros on Friday. Farquhar's agent says everyone is cautiously optimistic that he will make a full recovery. The White Sox have placed him on the 60-day disabled list. I'm John Stolness.
Kensington Palace says Prince William's wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, has given birth to the couple's 3rd child. The boy weighed in at 8 pounds, 7 ounces, and he is 5th in line for the throne. His older brother George is 4, and sister Charlotte is almost 3. I'm Ann Cates.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Major League Baseball All-Star and Brewers broadcast analyst Davey Nelson has passed away from cancer. Nelson was 73. The leader of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, Mary Nell Reagan, is resigning from her position. University of Wisconsin Regent Brian Steele, a Republican, says he will run for Paul Ryan's congressional seat. And property owners along the proposed water pipeline route from Milwaukee to Waukesha have been notified that they will soon see contractors in their neighborhood. Mostly sunny this afternoon, then mostly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight around 40 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-50s. For Wednesday, sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's a Rapture Monday.
And we're still here.
I'm feeling rapturous right now.
You're still here.
So far. But, you know, it's still like an hour till the end of the show. I could be raptured at any moment.
What time zone does the rapture start?
Check your local listings. I'm not clear. Hey, Dom, a little good news for those that enjoy funny. Jim Gaffigan to speak at Marquette University commencement. And I know our friend Scott Kuchka, a Marquette grad, fine university. Scott Walker never graduated there, right?
No, I don't
Attended,
believe so.
Never graduated.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You know, I had been considerate of trying to achieve a fine Marquette University education. Didn't have enough money to pay the tuition, even with the loans and dues and whatever, man.
Hey, if you went to Marquette, Curdy, you and I never would have met in college.
Maybe I'd be part of the Scott Walker team by now. We would have been contemporaries in college. I bet you I would have beaten him for student body president as well. He was corrupt even back then. But here's my point.
What's your point?
Kuchka, when I say we're all Badgers, I don't mean any disrespect to the fine learning institution that is Marquette University. We're all Wisconsinites, I should perhaps say, for the Marquette grads. And for the rest of us, and you know, I didn't even go to UW. I grew up in Madison. My mom dragged me up to night school classes. When I was like 3 years old, I'd color my brother and take notes. My mom was learning. A lot of Vietnam era vets in the back of the classroom at that time. And, so I attended classes at UW-Madison, but I graduated from the finest mass communication, no longer available college in America, the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, and you also graduated. You graduated, right, Joe?
Now, but of course, Badger being Madison's mascot, but also the state's mascot. So it's not just
We're all Badgers.
Yeah, yes.
We all Wisconsinites, and I would like to think of myself as the Tommy Thompson of left-wing radio host. Wrap your head around that, Republicans.
I'm not clear what that means.
Because Tommy Thompson had it in for all Wisconsinites. He was a Badger. Dom, let's get to the phones. 844-967-2789. No disrespect meant to the Marquette University grads or any of the fine grads
La Crosse Eagles
around the state. But if you did not graduate and you are the current governor, I don't like you.
844-967-2789. It's Happy Hour. Will from Madison, you're up. Thanks for calling, Will. What do you got?
Hey, Will.
Hey, now, I just thought I'd say hello after a while. Last time I talked to you, I think I was surprised. I didn't even know I was on the phone. I wanted to say, hey, first off, you kick ass, dude. I hope you fucking win for governor. Somebody real.
All right. Thank you for the call, Will. 844-967-2789. You can join us on the phones if you've got something to say.
A passionate, if not profane, caller will appreciate this support of all sorts, but not necessarily here on the FCC-regulated airwaves.
Once again, that number, 844-967-2789. Where do you want to go here now? Where do you want to go to? You want to go?
I would like to go to this article that appeared at the Washington Post. Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform, but as work requirements grow, so does one family's desperation. Now, I'm not taking credit for the earlier Tommy Thompson W-2 program. I'm not taking credit for any of Tommy Thompson's policies. I'm just saying I always admired the man putting Wisconsinites first. You know, we're all Badgers.
Gotcha.
Robert Samuels. The shock absorbers and James Howlett's Ford Fusion were busted, but he and his partner Nadine packed their 2 children inside anyway. Dateline, by the way, Dom, on this story, Milwaukee. They were already homeless and their time on food stamps was running out. They needed to fix the car and dig up documents to try and get back on welfare. The suburban homeless shelter where they slept at night before was now in the distance as they made their way through the familiar blight of the city neighborhood that was once home. Howlett dropped Caden, 5 at kindergarten, and Callie, 3 at daycare in a community center that stood amid the boarded-up houses and vacant fields, surrounded by barbed wire that dot Milwaukee's north side. That's when he found himself gripped by a new worry. His rundown Ford might be another barrier to government assistance. In February, Wisconsin passed a law prohibiting food stamp recipients from owning a car valued at more than $20,000. Just how the law would work was still unclear to him, leaving Howlett to worry whether he'd have to choose between food for his family and his only car. Here's a quote, Tom. They probably wouldn't assess it at its purchase value, right? Howlett wondered as he got back in the car. I hope they don't say I have to sell this. I think I should be fine. I don't know. The way things are changing. The way things are changing in Wisconsin and around the country is that lawmakers are embracing increasingly aggressive measures to move the poor out of the social safety net and into the workforce. In 2013, Wisconsin took a leading role in this trend when Republican Governor Scotty Wanker signed legislation requiring childless adults who aren't disabled to work at least 20 hours a week to continue to qualify for food stamps. Those who didn't do so were required to attend training programs scattered throughout the state until they could find a job. In February, the state took it a step further. Parents of school-age children will also have to work to receive food stamps, and instead of 20 hours, they must work at least 30 hours. Walker pushed for the asset limitations that worried Howlett to be applied in new cases to ensure that, and here's the quote, people with giant mansions and fancy cars don't get welfare checks while hardworking taxpayers have to pay the bill. Welfare queens, anyone? I mean, literally, this is right out of Reagan's playbook.
Wait. I want to be clear here. This is in the Washington Post, national newspaper. Walker pushed for the asset limitations that worried Howlett to be applied in new cases to ensure that, quote, people with giant mansions and fancy cars don't get welfare checks while hardworking taxpayers have to pay the bill.
Now, there was one example, and I think that was welfare fraud, and perhaps that person should and has been prosecuted, Don, but to make that example that sets the rule, I think is ludicrous. I think it is, once again, villainizing the meekest, the poorest. What did Christ say? And I know you're not a big Christ guy.
No.
But what would Christ say about Scott Walker's attitude towards the poor? You know, do only for the richest amongst us that cash the campaign finance checks? Or treat the downcast, I'll spare you the Christianity, man. Anyone with a moral compass knows that this isn't right, but let's keep reading in the article. The state mandated drug testing, you know, because that's always worked out so well for other states that have squandered taxpayers' resources. The state mandated drug testing for those that live in public houses. It is preparing to cut off Medicaid for workers who are behind on child support payments. That'll get them better, you know. Cut off their health insurance, and I'm sure they'll be right back to work and getting caught up in no time at all. In all, lawmakers passed 9 welfare reforms, air quote bills, which they said will provide the motivation people need to stop relying on government help. What about Foxconn? When are they going to not rely upon government help?
$4.5 billion. I mean, talk about Talk about people
welfare?
with giant mansions and fancy cars getting welfare checks while hard-working taxpayers have to pay the bill. How is it not applicable to a deal like Foxconn?
I'm sure Chairman Terry Gallow's got a modest little fixer-upper on the wrong side of the tracks, Don.
Yeah, I'm sure. Tough times.
Here's what Walker said. We will help people when they are down and out. What, by kicking them off food stamps? I read on. Walker said in his State of the State address in January, but for those who are able, public assistance should be a trampoline, Dom, not a hammock.
I will continue.
You've heard those platitudes before, have you not?
Dude, you know it. I mean, he loves that statement. Wisconsin has long been at the forefront of placing restrictions on government benefits. In the 1990s, Governor Tommy Thompson led an effort to limit how long the poor could receive cash assistance.
Now, as the liberal Tommy Thompson, I do not own his policy choices from the 1990s.
Okay.
Just his affection for Wisconsinites.
That approach appealed to President Bill Clinton, who used the state as a model for his federal changes, which reduced the number of families on welfare from 12.4 million in 1996 to 4.6 million in 2012 and transformed the government's relationship with the poor. The federal government is, again, following Wisconsin's example. President Trump championed welfare reform in his this month when he signed an executive order calling for federal agencies to come up with ways to make it harder for residents to receive cash assistance through the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, food stamps, housing vouchers, and Medicaid. The House Agricultural Committee introduced a farm bill that would institute requirements similar to ones enacted in Wisconsin.
You know how easy it is being poor now, man? Let's make it a little harder for poor people. They don't spend half their day trying to make insufficient amount of funds pay all the bills down.
Those
Let's
poor
make it
people
harder
in
for
their
them.
giant mansions and fancy cars. I continue. The results in this state have been limited. Since Walker put work requirements into place, the Health Services Department has said it has cut spending on food stamps by 28%.
Well, that's fiscally prudent, according to Scott Walker, right? You know, we pushed them out of dependency and into independency, right, Dom?
From $1.2 billion in 2013 to around $867 million in 2017. Officials said 25,000 food stamp recipients out of a statewide total of 700,000 have found work. State officials also said that more than 86,000 people have lost their ability to get food stamps and did not report getting new jobs.
So let me see. Scott Walker's proposal, and he cut the food stamp expenditures by 28%, forced 25,000 people, I wouldn't say forced, perhaps the training encouraged them, motivated them, but 25,000 reported getting jobs. But 86,000 lost a social safety net without the benefit of a new job.
There's been no government study examining what happened to those 86,000 people, Crudy. State officials say they presume some got new jobs and didn't bother to report them, but advocates say they see swelling numbers at churches and food pantries where more and more people go looking for help. If public assistance is a trampoline for Howlett and Nadine, who asked their name not be used, it is one that is vaulting them all over the Milwaukee area with no sure ground to land on. The recent trouble started in November when Nadine lost one job cleaning a suburban hospital while waiting to start another 5 blocks from her apartment. Then Howlett's car broke down, had to dramatically cut back driving hours as a Lyft driver, and they couldn't afford rent anymore. The eviction came next. They said they tried to apply for emergency loan from the state but were disqualified because they were not receiving cash assistance at the time, even though they were still eligible for food stamps. Why are there different qualifications for different benefits, Howlett said. I fail to understand it. They lived in hotels until money ran out, then tried moving to a homeless shelter in Milwaukee, but it was full. They were pointed to the suburbs where networks of churches in Waukesha County offered warm meals and cots for them to sleep. There was even a partition so their family could have a touch of privacy. You try to keep your spirits up because you don't want the kids to feel like something is wrong, Howlett said. Then you start to spiral. That's what it's like in Wisconsin. Help is so close and so far away.
Yeah, families spiraling out of control. Spiraling to the streets. Spiraling to homeless shelters. And Scott Walker would run for re-election on this platform of forcing people into despondency. This is his re-election campaign. This is the compassionate Christian conservative, Scott Walker, the preacher's kid? Look in the mirror. What would Jesus say? And I know you're not religiously founded, but if Scott Walker was any sort of Christian, he'd be raptured by now, and we'd be done with him as the governor of the state of Wisconsin. This article, it's not done. Reading from the Post, Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform, by Robert Samuels. We'll come back. We'll talk more specifics, about people getting their independence from eating.
And I love all people, rich or poor. But in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense?
They can go suck lemons.
Because I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf. Believe me.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Everybody buckle up. Mom. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Hey, Batman here. Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Hoping you'll support us as we track all that dark money that's splattering your screens with mud. You can count on us to tell you who really runs Wisconsin, and it's not Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss. They're just the water boys for the Koch brothers, WMC, the NRA, and Diane Hendricks. You can find all this out at our website at wisdc.org, and while you're there, please send us a donation so we can keep after these bad guys.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life.
Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can join us on the party line anytime, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we are reading the story of Howlett and Nadine, two Milwaukee area homeless people. As the headline reads, Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform, but as work requirements grow, so does one family's desperation, written by Robert Samuels. Dateline Milwaukee. I'm jumping back to the body of the piece, Dom. Wisconsin is historically strong, says Scotty Walker. Declared it in his January State of the State address. His evidence? Unemployment is at 2.9%, and manufacturing continues to grow. I thought we had net loss of manufacturing jobs in 16. With 13,000 more jobs expected thanks to the arrival of Chinese electronics maker Foxconn. I read on. Those conditions make it a perfect time to re-examine public benefits, according to Rep. State Krug, the Republican chairman of the State Assembly Committee on Public Benefit Reform. Here's a quote. As long as we have state-sanctioned childcare and daycare available, why not ask parents to do work activity, Krug asked. We have lots of jobs coming to Wisconsin. We need people to do the work, if we don't deport all the aliens in the meantime. For Krug and his fellow conservative lawmakers, the latest changes also offered an opportunity to reinvigorate the Midwest work ethic that he says the social safety net has started to unspool. The work requirements would help, he said, to rebuild what Wisconsin is about. No one is calling them frauds and cheaters. Scott Walker literally, effectively called them frauds and cheaters, Dom.
Here's the
Didn't
quote.
use the precise words, but please read it again.
Well, I think this is what Walker says. People with giant mansions and fancy cars don't get welfare checks, while hardworking taxpayers have to pay the bill. If you have a giant mansion and fancy cars, isn't the implication is that you're a fraud? Isn't the implication is that you are a cheater?
No one's calling them frauds and cheaters, said Scott Krug, Republican from Wisconsin. It's our job as a state to get people where their dreams lead them. I was dreaming about living in the governor's mansion, Dom. I hope to get there. I want to live out my dream of good governance as opposed to sticking it to poor people, to villainizing those that might need the social safety net. I would remind people, Dom, once upon a time, my single mom raising two kids on her own, we had food stamps. I'm embarrassed to this day to use a coupon. It is affecting enough to the kids. When you take the food stamps away from the parents, do you not think you're punishing the children? What, do the children have a secret stash of food to eat separate of the parents? Or are you punishing the whole family? It is ridiculous to take away the nourishment from a child's mouth. But this is the Republican proposals. This is how Scott Walker governs and brags, because you're all welfare queens. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates Radio right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Your opinions welcome. 844-967-2789.
Our economy's on fire.
Oh my God, we're burning alive!
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward, it's the right way to clean.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Believe me, there is no collusion. Believe me.
The only election I've ever won was Milwaukee's Best Local Entrepreneur 2017. I'm not your typical politician, but I'd like to be the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. I've acted as a fiduciary for my clients for the last decade, putting their needs before my own. I will do the same for you. Red and blue, R's and D's, we all do business with each other on Main Street. We're all Badgers. It's time we started acting like it. This message paid for by Crude for Wisconsin. Find us at crudeforwisconsin.com.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Major League Baseball All-Star and Brewers broadcast analyst Davey Nelson has passed away from cancer. Nelson was 73 years old. The leader of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, Mary Nell Reagan, is resigning from her position. The city of Milwaukee and Dane County are making big investments in solar energy. And the Brewers have now won 6 games in a row. They have today off, then go to Kansas City for 2 games. Mostly sunny this afternoon, then mostly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight around 40 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-50s. For Wednesday, sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Occupy didn't start on Wall Street. It started on our street. Tom and Crute, the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show in the midst of the happy hour. But I've never been happy about how Scott Walker villainizes the poor, the working poor. You know, those living just above the threshold of subsistence. You know, those that might live in mansions and defraud the government, the welfare queens, according to Scott Walker. Robert Samuels writes in the Washington Post, the headline again, Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform. Remember, for Trumpian welfare reform, but as work requirements grow, so does one family's desperation. Again, Howlett and Nadine, a Milwaukee couple, have been described in this article.
I'll recap here briefly. Was Republican Scott Krug, the Republican chairman of the State Assembly's Committee on Public Benefit Reform, said no one is calling them frauds or cheaters.
Scott Walker did.
It's our job as a state to get people to where their dreams lead them. State Senator LaTanya Johnson, a Democrat whose district includes Milwaukee's North Side, said those characterizations ignored the gross disparities within Wisconsin. It doesn't seem many in the state understand what happens in the inner city, Johnson said. The growth of manufacturing that's happening in Wisconsin is largely in the suburbs along the Interstate 94 corridor, beyond the reach of public transportation. What's growing on the north side are food pantries in vacated strip malls where nonprofits had to set up in schools and churches and near the shells of shut down factories. In this part of Wisconsin, Johnson said, there are mainly service jobs with irregular schedules and low pay. Even if residents found higher paying jobs in the suburbs, many, particularly single moms, would have to cobble together childcare at odd hours because the commutes would be so far. Instead of addressing the need, Johnson argued, her conservative counterparts were creating new problems for the poor. For some reason, this state assumes if we penalize the parents, then their kids will still be able to eat, she said. LaDonna Pavetti, who researches government assistance for the Liberal Leaning Center on Budget and Policy Priorities in Washington, said she expects that the results in Wisconsin will be similar to those of Clinton's time limits on cash assistance programs. During the first 2 years of the program, amid a booming economy, it appeared the tough love approach worked, studies showed. More were getting jobs and their incomes were rising. 5 years after the initiative, though, it appears those gains had been lost. A 2001 evaluation commissioned by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services found virtually no difference in income and employment between those who were subjected to work requirements and a control group that was not. Whatever their status, parents still had to contend with the challenge of finding good-paying jobs and consistent hours in places where they may be limited, with less to keep them afloat. In the mid-1990s, the center data shows about 80 out of every 100 families living below the poverty line in Wisconsin received cash assistance. Now that number is about 20 out of every 100.
Repeat that, Dom. I mean, that so badly bears repeating. Mid-1990s, 80 out of every 100 families living below the poverty line received assistance. Now it's 20% of families living below the poverty line. What about the rest? What do?
Walker and the legislature have invested more than $50 million in training to help low-income families become self-sufficient. Those who don't meet the work requirements have to go to training centers for 8 hours a month, where case managers help with resumes and interview techniques, among other skills. They also refer residents elsewhere to learn how to become welders, machinists, nursing assistants, or other types of professionals.
You know, Scott Walker and those welders.
In the last 6 months, officials said 44% of participants reported gaining employment after going through the program. They averaged 35 hours a week with a wage of $12.88 an hour. That still might not be enough for some. To afford a two-bedroom apartment in Milwaukee, according to a 2017 study from the National Low Income Housing Coalition, a family must work 40 hours a week at $17.83 an hour.
So they theoretically, coming out of this program, it's supposed to save all the taxpayer dollars, supposed to train people, that places them in jobs making just shy of $13 an hour. But to be able to afford the rent in Milwaukee, you need to make nearly $18 an hour. Do you see where the disparity is still there? Doesn't matter how hard you work, that math will never add up.
Well, and state officials are saying 44% of the participants reported gaining employment, which means
56% didn't get a job at all and didn't even make the $12 or $13 an hour, which is insufficient to pay the rent that requires about $18 an hour in Milwaukee to achieve.
At the end of the workday, the continued financial hardship of many who found new jobs meant they would end up looking for help in the same places as people who had been kicked off government assistance. Between 2013 and 2018, the number of meals distributed through the statewide nonprofit Feeding Wisconsin jumped from 38 million to 60 million, according to David Lee, its executive director. Another nonprofit, UMOS, the number of families served in Milwaukee during that period nearly quintupled from 11,000 to 53,000.
That's between 2013 and 2018. That's right in the heart of Scott Walker's administration. That is while there is a national recovery, from Jim Doyle's recession. And that's at the very same time, many people are doing better. Scott Walker's bragging about the low unemployment rate, yet we see people needing to go to others for help at a quintupling number. How do you go from 11,000 families to 53,000 families if you have created independence. You're not creating independence. You're pushing them off on the private sector. And charity. Charity doesn't begin with this governor. Let me read the conclusion of this article. A little desperate right now. Back to Howlett and Nadine. Howlett and Nadine were searching for help everywhere they could. Nadine had gone through the job training program and found it a waste. She had a resume and a skill set. She just needed a job. Howlett could manage one of those new manufacturing jobs coming to the state because a knee injury a few years ago cut short his job as a heavy machinery operator. And I would point out, Scott Walker, when county executive right here in Milwaukee, first he raised the bus rates higher than any other metro in the nation. Greatest expansion, greatest increase in expense. And then when there was tremendous drop-off in the ridership, because suddenly it's more expensive than any other metro, then he cut the routes to Waukesha. Scott Walker helped to create this inability for people living in the city of Milwaukee to get where the good-paying jobs are. I read on. So he said, talking about Howlett, so he said he had worked full-time driving for Lyft. However, together they earned about $2,000 each month, enough to rent a 4-bedroom apartment with no doorknobs and unsealed windows that did little against Wisconsin's winter gust. Because their income was increasing, the couple received less from the state. Their food stamps benefits decreased each month from $400 to $63, which made them proud. We didn't need any more than that, Howlett said. In February, after they were evicted, they sold their stove and put what they could in a storage unit, which was where they headed after dropping off the kids to daycare. Lived in a storage unit? I read on. They had $43.33 left in their checking account, $123 on a prepaid checking card, and $300 car repair ahead of them. Thank God for the church, Nadine said, because it offered to pay for the repairs. They drove to the storage facility. Nadine pulled out a spiral notebook and opened it to a checklist, written in big red letters, of the things they needed to reapply for food stamps and cash assistance: birth certificate, social security card, letter from the shelter, bank statement, pay stubs. She grabbed a small box filled with paper sitting atop plastic tubs of baby clothes. We tried to save all the kids' toys, but we couldn't save them all, Howlett said. He pushed aside his Spider-Man backpack and began playing with the arms of Caden's toy Godzilla. I feel like crying, thinking about my babies, he said. Why are they making these situations harder? This is already hard enough. It always work harder, sell your car, do more, do more, do more. We were doing more, and they didn't want to help. Come on, Nadine said. We have stuff to do. She was frustrated too. She had heard stories of people selling off their food stamps in grocery store parking lots and on Facebook. She figured those were the people the government wanted to target. She and Howlett were just collateral damage. You ever think the government just doesn't want to help? Nadine asked him. They're trying to make people who don't need government help feel good, he said. If you're one of them, all this stuff sounds good, Howlett said, of the work requirements. But in reality, when you apply it, it doesn't work. He turned the car on and exhaled in relief when the engine started. He tried to remain hopeful. We're a little desperate right now, but it'll pass.
That was a piece by Robert Samuels. Wisconsin is the GOP model for welfare reform, but as work requirements grow, so does one family's desperation. Hell of a piece. Come back with us on the phones. We want to hear what your thoughts are. 844-967-2789 is what Governor Walker and the Republicans are doing here in the state of Wisconsin. Is it working? Is it worthy of going nationwide? Your thoughts next on the Devil's Advocates, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Most of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank God for his abundant grace. Win or lose, it has always been more than enough.
Oh! Oh, good for you.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. Join Crute and I as we host Milwaukee's political open mic on Wednesday, April 25th from 11:30 to 1 at Good City Brewing. As part of YP Week Milwaukee, we will dive deep into different aspects of Milwaukee's education system with Justin Morales, State Director of American Federation for Children, and Mandela Barnes, former state legislator and candidate for Lieutenant Governor. They will share their thoughts and ideas on the challenges and future of Wisconsin education. Do you have ideas? Make your voice heard at Good City Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 25th at 11:30.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, 844-967-2789. If you would like to join our conversation, let's get to the phones right now. Reverend Dean, you are next. Thanks for calling, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I just want to first apologize because I was actually outside most of the time because I figured rapture comes, like going through a ceiling must hurt. So,
yeah, but you're still with us, Dean.
Yeah, but I am still with you, and that's what I'm saying. I think Paul Luck is still with us as well, right? But the thing, the timing of this, I think, is very poignant, right? Because we just paid our taxes. This is, I think, that this is coming out again, and then the charade is because we all paid our taxes, and he's rounding up his base of those people who complain about, I pay too much taxes, and then I hate all the Scott holes and don't get the correlation, right? And so when you stop to think about it, though, if you do the research, you'll find that, like, for every $100 that I spend on taxes, less than $1 goes to food stamps, right, and federal taxes. And
you mean the welfare queens, Reverend Dean?
Exactly. So if you inflame people, and that's what he relies on, is his base are people who don't make that correlation. They don't get that. There's so much. I mean, it's minuscule. You're making a huge issue out of next to nothing. We spent more on bombing Syria than we did, to make schools free for the year, right? I mean, the disassociation is just immense. So I think that's why we get this roughing up and we get this stuff coming out now, is to incite those who just like, oh my gosh, the welfare queens, these people are buying, and that's just not true. I mean, and they don't, so, destroying people's lives like that powerful article you just read is, well, I can't be paying for everything.
Reverend Dean, did you see the quote today? I believe Donald Trump on Twitter called immigrants breeders. Do you understand that they are dehumanizing other human beings, that they treat those that are different, be it, without papers or those that would live on the streets, those are subhuman in the eyes and opinions and policies of Scott Walker and Donald Trump?
Yeah, we've never escaped that part of our history. We've never, taken the time to address, because it's in all acts and fashions. I mean, that's the Center for Racism. That's the Center for, for blaming poor. They're the poor. They're not people who are struggling. They're the poor, because that you can kind of, and even I always wondered why we went to the whole term of oh my gosh, what's the new term for being hungry? Food challenged, right? Food challenged. It makes absolutely no sense. But that's exactly what they're doing. They're dehumanizing people who suffer because they are less. And I have to admit, it probably comes a lot from people who claim to be in my faith that, preach this prosperity gospel that, God's sign that he loves you is your success. So if you have not success, we don't even have to worry about you, right?
Scott Walker, a guy with thank you, Reverend Dean, a guy with a net negative worth, minus $73,500 when he made his FEC disclosure when he ran for president. Scott Walker, a debtor to the tune of almost $100,000. If he was Nadine and Howlett, he'd be living on the streets.
It's a hell of a point, Curdy. 844-967-2789. Let's keep going. Kurt from Madison, you are next. Thanks, Kurt. What do you think?
Well, Curdy, tip of the hat to you is being one of the responsible parents with a child that needs help, as many people in the United States who are in your position need help.
Yeah, they all need help, don't they, Kurt?
Candidate. Yeah, I'm a lottery winner for the flu influenza shot. As a result, I now suffer from small nerve neuropathy, which is extremely painful. And thanks to the opioid epidemic, which I think is a bunch of BS, if anybody really starts digging into the data like I've done, you've got to start looking at age groups, their backgrounds, where the drugs were distributed to, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what I want to talk about. The thing that bothers me the most, down to the core, is that when I was the financial PUA for my mother and father, my mom with Alzheimer's, my father who had a stroke and partial dementia, I not only had to deal with the burden of handling all of that stress while my body was freaking out on me, but I was also battling two total misfit siblings who were going out of their way to make my job and my older sister's job as difficult as possible. So here's the thing in a nutshell. When you want to call something an epidemic, I suggest someone Google how many children go without food in the United States. And then if you're willing to really do the hard work to get the data on the so-called opioid crisis, and you narrow down the numbers of those who abused it because they were naturally disposed to abusing substances opposed to those who are taking it for pain management, now you're seeing the counter effect of people taking their lives because doctors are in fear of losing their license due to corporations owning medical facilities and are just flat out stopping the issuing of pain medications. This violates the Hippocratic Oath of a physician, and it's corporatized healthcare for profit and profit only, and damn everybody else.
Kurt, thank you for your contribution. We got a few more we'd like to get to. 844-967-2789. Jake, you are next. Welcome to the big show.
Hey, yeah, I'll just say a couple quick things. One, Republicans have never done anything to help Milwaukee ever. It started with Tommy saying, stick it to Milwaukee, and it has kept on going, and Milwaukee's minority population is used as red meat and the racism of the white voters for Scott Walker. That's it in a nutshell. And they'll keep on doing it, and I bet you all their voters love this now. Second thing, earlier in today's program, there was that unnamed Democratic pollster or strategist who said this about you running your race. Okay, and you mentioned sometimes you have to throw some punches. You know what? Saying that the Republicans hate poor people is throwing a punch. And this is what Democrats have to do, is fight. Because I am so sick of the mealy-mouthed Democratic Party of Wisconsin. You know, they get my vote by default, okay?
I know
they don't get my vote.
Yes, I know what you mean,
really
Jake.
want it. You know? So, get off your asses, Democratic Party of Wisconsin, and start fighting. We have facts, right? We have logic. You can use that, but you can still throw punches back because they're going to do everything they can with Russian money and anything they can get to destroy you, Democratic governor, wanting to be governor people and everyone else. So,
Jake, got to cut you short. I got a quick quote as we end the show today. I denounce the notion that any human being has ever chosen a life of self-pity. I could call such a man a lifeless, homeless, loveless, but the root, I believe, is that the man has become dreamless. Those words were spoken by Kurt Schandelmeyer. Kirk, my bad. He was homeless. He is now deceased. He used to be a friend of ours. He'd knock on the glass here. People in Milwaukee dying in the streets. And our governor, he's giving them independence. Go out there and die, young man. We'll miss you, Kirk. Thank you so much, Lenny Mattioli, Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Devil's Advocates will do it on the radio again for you tomorrow.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
No, I'm going to stay for a while. How about that? Freedom.
Wanker. I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day.